Okay, once again, thank you so much for being here. We're very, very excited. I know a few of us may be a little hungry. First two keynote speakers will be a brief intermission during that time. Grab some water, some food, go to the bathroom. But to kick it off, we're going to have a quick word from our Codelab president.
All right, so everyone's having a good evening. Hi, my name is Monish, for those of you who don't know me. I'm also the guy that sends 3 a.m. Slack messages, the guy that breaks everyone's Notion permissions. In other words, the president of the club, right? And I've been like super lucky to be the president for this club this past year. And I thought the best way to do that is just kind of walk you guys through what that process was like and kind of show what we accomplished apart from these wonderful projects that we're going to show today. Because there's a lot that goes into what this club is Codelab for. So to start it off, last year, when I got to know that I was the president, I stood right here. I was very excited, but I was also very, very scared. And I said, let me cook, like I had something planned up. But to be honest, I had absolutely no plan. I had no direction of where I wanted to go. I was just really passionate about the club, and I knew I wanted to do something about it. But very soon, that fear definitely did change into a little bit of confidence. I think it happens for everyone. But what really kicked it off is what other people said. A lot of people were there trying to put a limit to what you can do as a student organization. That's exactly what I wanted to prove wrong. And that just kind of set a little fire in me. They say a bumblebee is actually too big in its body size and has really small wings. And it shouldn't technically fly according to all aerodynamic laws. But that's exactly what a lot of people told us. We were just a student organization. You guys are doing too much. But just like that bumblebee, we ignored everything and we didn't follow the rules that we didn't write. And we flew anyways. So there's 2 simple things that I told myself when I wanted to continue with this organization is always start with a little ambition for something and make sure I end with impact. People like to see numbers, they like impact. And so that's what we're going to see today. After 554 hours of meetings and 310 different meeting notes and an infinite amount of stress, more stress than I'd like to admit, we are here today to showcase to you guys what we achieved this year. So sit back and relax and watch everything we achieved this year. We knew starting off in the year that we wanted to change people's perspective on what Codelab was. So we wanted to do things new, but we also wanted to just refresh the idea of what the club was completely. But at the same time, we didn't want to change too many things because we had something that was really strong, but we also did not want to just like lay back and not try for new things. So that's when we introduced 2 new cohorts, so Codelab Product and Codelab AI, which you guys will get to see the projects of. But what made this year really successful has to be the clients. We would have never imagined in the past 2 years that we'd be able to work with such big companies and a huge amount of them. So a huge shout out to our projects team. In fact, this year we ended up working in 16 different projects and with 11 different clients. That's one of the biggest Codelab has ever seen so far. And on top of this, we also knew that we wanted to focus a little bit more on building that strong community as well. And that is when we decided to kind of have that inclusivity. We opened up our retreat for the very first time to the entire cohort. And it was a huge success. We had to run it back. And this quarter, we had one of our largest retreats. And our operations team completely killed it. Organization, transportation, food, and all of those stuff. But what's really cool about our operations team is they handle a lot more things than you can imagine. We have our weekly GMs, Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. in this DLC. We have final presentations like this one. We have our workshop that we do with other clubs. We have other socials during the entire weeks, and also our lovely banquets. And we cannot forget our barbecue socials too. But all of the stuff we do would not really be shown to a lot of people if it isn't for a pretty strong marketing team. And our externals team did phenomenal this entire year. We reached over 700,000 new accounts, over 1,000 followers, and we had 65 different posts on our socials. We're working constantly and really hard. In, in fact, one of our reels, if you guys haven't seen it, hit 1.4 million views, and we were really excited about that. And we didn't settle for less. We didn't want to just do something that's every certain organization gets to do. We put a lot of time and effort into every single video we crafted and went above and beyond with these. And obviously, we can't forget our awesome merch shop. So you can get one at codelabdavis.com. But let's get back to some of the more core pillars of what Codelab is. It's education. Our design education and software education team spent hours over the entire summer trying to put everything together through our boot camps and our toolkit that's now accessible to the public. In fact, they didn't stop right there. We ended up having 12 different educational workshops throughout the entire year to make sure our students are fully educated and up to speed on what they should know. And we made all of that information accessible through archives at codelabdavis.com so that everyone in the public can also get a chance to learn from them. We took a step further with education and leaned into finest with our professor mentors, Professor Philkop, who's here, and Professor Wheeler. I think we have one. They've been really, really helpful for not just the students in the club, but also for us in the board to kind of teach us in which directions we should go and not. So it's been a really cool initiative, and we have much more to come in the next coming years. And I have to talk about our infrastructure teams, everything that you guys see, the websites, what's up for this final presentation. They're releasing platforms after platforms, keeping them always functioning and up to date. In fact, we're really excited for our Codelab app to come sometime next year, so keep an eye out for it too. But let's switch things a little bit into open source. Now, this is something we launched this year, and we got an overwhelming response. We had about 120 members in less than 48 hours, and we didn't really understand the demand for it until we started putting the tickets out, and they got taken in less than 2 minutes. What's really cool is over the quarter, we have about 18 different components built, 90 plus commits, and about 20 or over pull requests that were closed. This is a very good start for our very first open source cohort. And we built these projects completely from scratch to support this. But what's even cooler is we have a lot of different clients who are interested to work with this open source, and we have much more coming in the future. We're spending a lot of time in specific trying to kind of put more efforts into open source, and we're working very closely with the UC OSCO program to see what we can do to help students and encourage them to be part of open source communities. That's a lot of value in Codelab for sure, but this access shouldn't have a price tag. And we believe everyone, regardless of the background, should be able to experience this. But as a student organization, I'm sure all of you know, there's a lot of operational costs. And in the past, we used to have a member due. But what we're really excited is this year onwards, we made that completely zero. The Codelab will now, in the near future, be officially cost-free for all students. But what's really interesting is almost everything that we did this year wasn't just thinking about this year. We were thinking a little ahead. And what's even cooler is we have a really strong team that will take it forward from now on. So keep an eye out in this space. It's only going to go better from here. But today is about the team that made it happen this year. I want to thank everyone on this board, and can we get a huge round of applause for everyone that made it happen? We could have definitely played safe in a lot of places. We could have definitely chosen something small, but we didn't, and that's what made us different. And what's something that's also very unique about Codelab is for a lot of things we don't really have a process, and that's totally fine because we really do trust in each one of it, and that's what makes it special, and that's what made it work at the end. They will say it's unrealistic. They will say it's too ambitious. They will say it's too much. They'll definitely say it's too big. But we didn't wait for that validation. In fact, we put our heads down and we built until they all look back. Today, they are all looking back. So I hope you guys are really going to enjoy today's product showcase. It's a lot of effort throughout the entire year that we built to get these projects and making sure everyone has a good experience. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for trusting me. And please sit back and enjoy the showcase for tonight. Thank you.
All right, everyone, let's give another hand for our president. Good evening. My name is Stephanie.
And I'm Sanjana Pete, and we will be your MCs for the night.
Woo! Now, Sanjana and I met right in this very room as we decided that, we should be some design education leads. Shout out
Jess and Janine, who are our fellow coworkers on the design education team.
Yes, and we are so excited to welcome you all to our podcast.
It's our very first one, too. Our showcase will include 3-minute pitches that are going to be presentations from each of our 11 teams from winter and spring quarter. Each presentation will be in the style of a pitch, and it's supposed to get you excited to see more.
Yes, and additionally, we have 4 keynote speakers. We have Anna, Catherine, Heather, and Greg. Right here, standing right next to me.
And let's give another round of applause for our industry panelists who will be giving each team feedback on their pitches tonight. Tonight, we're going to have a few slides with this medium QR code. And if you scan this QR code, and please do, you can get access to in-depth articles written by each team about the process and work that went into all of the amazing projects you're going to see.
Check it out. All right. Now, this next team, they were boasting about the opportunity that they had with their next client, with their clients. And then they showed up to our general meeting wearing bright purple t-shirts. And I mean, it was quite blinding, but we were all jealous.
So jealous. The team got those iconic shirts when they were invited to tour their clients' headquarters in Cordoba. And they even met the CEO. Yeah. We're so excited to see what they have to present for 2 full quarters of hard work. Saladine, you're up.
Hi everyone, I'm Team Saladine. So what's Saladine? Saladine is a data storage company originally from Intel. You can find their SSD chips anywhere from laptops to data centers with incredibly fast data speeds. So here's a problem they presented to us. They need a consolidated and efficient way to be able to manage teams and tasks. Currently, the teams are spread across different systems, tools, and processes, making it hard for managers to track progress and for employees to track their responsibilities. So, how do we frame the question? How can we refine this process to be able to effectively improve the team performance and help managers track key objectives and key results? So currently, the system here is only comprised of CSV files, and it's obviously very dysfunctional and very overwhelming, making it hard for employees to use the system.
So we were commissioned to build a custom web application built in .NET to match their current servers. This application helps employees manage their tasks clearly. It allows team leads to track their team's progress, and it allows managers to set company-wide goals. Our primary goal was to make everything from the CSV that was shown clear and efficient. So we took tasks, reports, and to goals, and we consolidated all into one application. This clear representation of tasks and progress helps employees understand their responsibilities. It helps managers hold teams accountable, and it prevents cross-platform confusion. Our final goal was to make this application scalable so that it can be used by multiple teams across different tiers of the company.
Okay, so moving on to our key features. First up, we have tasks. These are quick and accessible ways to track progress for teams. These can be assigned to individuals and to teams. They correspond to a higher company level goal, and multiple teams also have the option to work on tasks. Next up, we have reports. We have a feature where we give teams an option to give weekly updates using bullet points for their team lead. We also have the feature where they can mark a section of the report as access. so that the team lead knows where to put in effort. Next up, we have the admin dashboard. Everything you see on the main dashboard is structured using the admin dashboard. The admin also has the option for users when they register. They can also generate snapshots and generate historical problems. Lastly, we have Workday. Workday is a tool that Solidigm uses to measure employee excellence. We have a feature that is integrated with the OKR application to increase efficiency. This is still in the works as we need a green light from the IT team at Solidigm, but everyone at Solidigm is super excited about it. We're very grateful to have gotten the opportunity to work with a client like Solidigm. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Solidigm. Quick question, Sanjana. How many sides does a circle have?
0?
No. 2. Inside.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, and our next team got an inside look into cryptocurrency while they were developing a product for Circle. I'm so thankful for the PM for making our crypto for dummies manual thing, and now I've invested my entire life savings into cryptocurrency.
Ian, I don't know if you follow fully.
I'll
Yeah. Well, I think this next team can fill you in. Let's take a look at what they delivered.
Yeah, hi everyone. We'd love to tell you guys about what we worked on for the Codelab Circle cohort. So just kind of a bit of background. Circle.com is kind of this global tech company, and they developed a cryptocurrency called USDC or USD, which is kind of designed to be stable, so it doesn't fluctuate in price like Bitcoin would, for example. And kind of the issue with this is that a lot of kind of consumer applications like text AI or video AI, there's not a lot of consumer adoption for using crypto. So it's mostly the credit card right now, and there's kind of a lot of this friction for consumers, and we kind of set out to solve this and to really have consumers be more open to using crypto for these purposes.
Yeah. So for our solution, we leverage both a dashboard and a 4-in-1 AI services application to really help underline both the feasibility and practicality of using something such as USDC as a main source of payment. So now the default dashboard, users can see all the previous transaction history along with a few filters. So you can filter by the type along with the transaction specifics. And so this right here is one example of our AI services. So we have 4 of them. This is image to video, but we also have image to 3D, type to image, and type to text. And we really wanted to incorporate all of these to create a very comprehensive developer experience and enable them to really understand the usage of immutability. And then these 2 blurbs right here are an example of direct transactions from the wallet, which based off of the users, like how they interact with the platform, it'll automatically deduct from the wallet. And then finally, we also implemented a developer dashboard, and this is really to help developers visualize the user flow, and more importantly, kind of give them a small insight as to how they could use the Circle SDK and API.
We also created all of these design mockups. So kind of the goal in our design process was, as we mentioned, to create a design which is kind of intuitive and modern and just good looking so that we can kind of maximize this consumer adoption. And so we kind of attached some snippets of what we worked on from the design slide. So kind of the process to develop this was kind of 2-part. So first, kind of set up a kind of modern web app code base. We use Next.js, Supabase, and Chatien. And then once our developers kind of this foundation set up, we use these sort of called API to kind of integrate all these things like wallets and money and transactions for kind of important business logic application. And Leo mentioned the 4 different AI services that we're offering. And so kind of for the chat service, OpenAI, for the image service, we're using Replicated Flux. For the video service, we're using Mocha. And for the 3D model service, we're using a service called Mesh. And thank you very much from all of us. We had a really good time working on this, and huge thank you to the client.
All right, everyone, let's give them a round of applause.
Hold on. You mean circle of applause?
Okay, so circle of applause. All right, we're going to be introducing our and the good notes is a pretty great app. I've seen a lot of people who declare themselves iPad kids using it to draw up anatomy and neurons and whatever in their 8 a.m. bio classes here at UC Davis.
We're excited to see how this next team is supporting those future doctors and their beautiful study packets. Let's give a warm welcome to our winter quarter Good Notes team.
Hello again. Welcome to the Good Notes team. This is our wonderful team that made this project possible. So let's get right into it. So what is Good Notes? Like they said earlier, Good Notes is a leading AI digital paper that's used by millions of people worldwide. And to be precise, 25 million people, and they're based off London. So our task was very simple. They wanted us to create a proof of concept for document analysis and outline generation using AI. So this would serve as a testing platform before they could integrate it into Good Notes. So we split up the projects into 3 main paths: document classifications, document outline, plus chat features, along with doing all of this with the model of your choice.
Hi. So to start off the design process, we did research to understand current points of the Good Notes features, along with understanding how AI can be used to help students study more efficiently. From that point, we created a feature matrix to sort of place and prioritize the different features and communicate that with our team. We also made a communicate with our developers on what to expect, and from that point on, we just kept doing iterations. As we were fine-tuning all different details, we also followed through with the very specific design system that Good Notes provided for us, and added our own little touch with micro interactions and different components.
All right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about development, my favorite part. So for our tech stack, we used Vercel AI SDK and Next.js. This helped really streamline our development. One of our key features was actually our union operation, which helped combine the outputs of multiple LLMs into one cohesive and in-depth response. Our next key feature was actually segmentation, and we went crazy with this. We tried like every provider on the planet, and eventually we just settled for the most obvious answer, which is Distract OCR. And for our next key feature, our final key feature was model comparison, and this is where you can analyze multiple documents in parallel. And experiment with models to see which model best fits your use case. So let's watch this crazy demo video we made. All right, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you Good Notes for being an amazing client.
All right, thank you so much, Good Notes. I'm very excited for what we have next. Our first keynote speaker of the night, Anna Marrero, is a UC Davis alum based in Sacramento. She began her career as a project manager for a marketing and PR agency in San Francisco, and now works as a service designer, leading enterprise-wide research strategy and experience design at Golden One Credit Union. Get ready for a powerful talk about influence and the role of design in decision making from Anna.
Whew, it's good to be back at UC Davis. I absolutely loved it here. It's where I first discovered design and fell in love with it. So, get this show on the road. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm a service designer. And as you know, I work for Golden One Credit Union. And today I'm going to talk to you about stories, and specifically knowing how to craft them and how they can be the most powerful tool that you have in the corporate world. In honor of today's topic, we'll start with a story of my own. A while back, my team was having a hard time getting people across the organization to change their systems based on the research and insight done. I knew all the design techniques that we could leverage to connect them to the why and get buy-in from our leaders, but I was told it wasn't the right time. And when is it ever the right time? Funny enough, a few months later, a VP at Golden One came to me and asked me to create the storyboard for him. He had about to launch a new service, had mapped out all the process steps, and had yet to consider the member experience. I jumped at this opportunity to show the value in the design technique. Before I go too far, can everyone in the room raise their hand if they know what a UX storyboard is, or a design storyboard? Okay, I see a good show of hands. So for those of you who don't, storyboarding is the technique of illustrating an experience in a way that builds empathy. It explores what-if scenarios. It's a great way to prototype, things that you haven't really thought about or planned. It aligns cross-functional teams around a common goal. When you incite empathy with an audience, you get buy-in. Emotions convince people to enact on change. Did I digress? You may be thinking, why would I spend hours drawing? You may be even thinking, I'm not a great drawer. And by the way, I'm not a great drawer. You do not have to be a great illustrator to tell a great story. You just have to have a vision. That's what counts. In storytelling, the medium is second. So let's get back to the story at hand. I agreed to make the storyboard for a VP, but before I started illustrating, I had to do my research. No one's going to buy into a story that you yourself are not bought into. That requires you understand the ecosystem you're designing for, and making sure that your story is aligning with department vision and goals. This is also a great place to explore potential roadblocks, challenges, and successes. So I spent 2 weeks researching the project scope, the work that had been done. I talked to the people that were involved. I understood their challenges. I corrected the vision. I can't get too specific here because the service was not yet launched. But what I found was that we were rejecting the majority of our target audience that we were looking to serve due to very strict parameters we have around membership for specific service. I can't say anything, I'm sorry. On top of that, we were making these people go through the entire application process, which, by the way, is several days. This service is a very complicated service. To wait even 1 or 2 days is a difficult position to be in. Now, imagine waiting 5 days, and at the end, you're told, "I work is never going to be accepted in the first place." That's a bad member experience. You may be thinking, well, these people aren't going to bank with Golden One anyways. But Golden One's brand is very dependent on trust. And we're also very dependent on word of mouth to build new memberships and to retain them. So yes, a negative experience that might not lead to membership does affect a company. The way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So the teams that created these processes, of course, they knew what they were doing, right? They knew about the denial process, and they also knew about the parameters that existed, but they knew about this information in silos. When you bring it all into a story, you can see how it connects. So through the storyboard that I created, they had their aha moment. They hadn't thought about how this might affect our members. And our members, as well as the employees, are the most important part of a company. So you bring it together, and that, my friends, is the power of storytelling. So the storyboard gained traction, and it made its way up to the CEO of the company. She connected with a negative member experience, and she asked that a solution be implemented before launch. Now, this service was launching soon. We're not in the nature of making things more complicated, and we're definitely not in the nature of increasing project scope and deadlines. So we did a quick fix. We did a redesign, just alerting people that are applying, hey, these are the guidelines that we have. You may fall into this bucket before they even started the application process. In addition to this, conversations around easing current guardrails to target more of our desired clientele started happening across the department. So, this next slide. If there's one thing that you take away from this presentation, let it be this. Stories are so powerful because they present information in a way that taps into the core mechanisms in the brain. Meaning, we have hardwired responses to stories that we connect with. And that's why knowing how to tell a good story, especially in the corporate world, is an important tool to have. If you're able to look at your audience and get them to care, you know your audience, so you know what they care about. You can craft a story that gets buy-in on whatever you're trying to do. But you have to know how to craft that story. It's not easy, not all the time. Stories are not just entertaining. They're critical to making change happen. Stories open people's hearts and minds. And this was the former COO of Facebook and Amazon. Without a compelling story, no one will listen. But what is it that makes a story compelling? Start with data, right? Make the world go round. People will not listen if you do not have data, or most people won't. And especially as designers, from our designers in the room, always have data. Aim for clarity and structure. Pretty basic, from beginning, middle, end. Stories should make the complex clear. It should be digestible, because simple things speak, and you need your story to stick. Tap into emotion. Facts tell, but feelings sell. And yes, that is a little bit cheesy, but show what's at stake. Bring your characters to life and invite your audience to care, because change requires feelings, not just logic. And finally, it is my belief, my very strong belief, that a story is only as good as the author's curiosity. So get curious. Find something that draws you in, even if the topic at hand isn't necessarily super exciting. I work in finance. I'm not really motivated by home mortgages, but I'm motivated by the people that buy them. That way you can explore deeply, empathize more, and craft more compelling narratives. Today, I focus on storytelling in the world of corporate as a strategic tool, but its power is universal. Stories have been passed down for centuries because they help us make sense of the world and of ourselves. I encourage everyone here to reflect on their own stories. What brought you here? Who were you? And who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And who do you want to become? When you define your own narrative, you're intentionally shaping your identity. No one can tell you who you are, and that's very important. But you know that. You know what you want, and you know what you're going after. And you'll be ready for the aligned opportunities that will bring you to who you want to be. Remember, we are hardwired to respond emotionally to stories, and that includes our own. Technology is powerful. Use it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. All right, it's time to announce another guest speaker. We have Greg Larkin, who is a senior service delivery engineer at a company we love here at Codelab. Today, Greg will be talking about something that we're a little anxious about what the effects will be, AI. And more specifically, we'll be looking more about how AI is changing the way that early career teams are building software.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for hosting us tonight.
And yeah, just want to roll back in time a little bit. So who's heard of a punch card? Okay, good number of hands. All right. So really what I want to talk about tonight is embracing change. Okay, so I'm going to go back a couple generations and sort of work our way forward here. Ultimately, we're going to end at AI, of course. GitHub and Microsoft are very much embracing AI. They're focused on it. I use it on a daily basis with my customers. As mentioned, I'm a senior service delivery engineer. I work inside the financial, healthcare, and manufacturing vertical at GitHub. So I'm working with customers every day to help them implement our solutions, figure out how to use AI inside of that, use our platform, basically take care of any problems they might have. I do a lot of training as well, and really enjoy just kind of seeing how all of our tools work in their environment, because it's often very different than what we would imagine. So rolling back a couple generations, like I mentioned, my dad was actually a software engineer on the Apollo moon landing project. He was working inside of the lunar lander simulator segment of that. And at his time in the 60s, state of the art was writing out Fortran programs on paper and then translating them on punch cards with this little device you see in the middle here, which is essentially like a big sort of typewriter. They would spend weeks working on these things. They would be typing them out. They would be submitting them into a mainframe computer, some sort of IBM mainframe, and they would have to wait weeks. They would have to go through this process of getting in line with all the other jobs that were going on, and they would run these things and eventually get some kind of result, and they might find error. I now have to go back through that process again, resubmit that thing. That was the debugging process at the time, but that was the state of the art. You know, they had come forward even from that point from, you know, programming with toggle switches on all computers and things. So this was actually an improvement at that time. That's what they had for their tool. So let's kick it forward a generation into when I started my career. Now I'm, of course, well beyond punch cards. You know, we actually have real computers on our desks and we were typing. We had CRTs, you know, like actual screens and such. But we were still doing a lot of low-level programming. So I was working in a language called C. Anybody? Okay, thank you. Very low-level language. We had to build a lot of our own tools. We had to build memory managers and user interfaces, all these things that we sort of take for granted these days. But again, it was the state of the art. It's what we had. During that period of time, though, we started seeing things like advanced software for that time that could detect when we had memory leaks, we had, you know, debugging issues and other sorts of problems, and they were so much faster. They were so much easier for us to find problems and fix them. With Java coming along, we had garbage collections. We didn't have to worry about memory anymore. These were all just such amazing, magical types of things to us at the time. It doesn't seem like it now, but at that time, it was one of these things that really just pushed our whole development process forward. And I think as I get sort of towards, you know, my message to you, the thing that I really want to stress is that we had to maintain a certain open-mindedness to this. I worked with other engineers at that time that had been a little further along in their career, and they sort of saw these things as a threat. You know, why would I want to give up my custom little memory management routine to this language that just does it for me? That doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense because it allowed the people who embrace these things to think about higher order problems rather than focusing on all these little fiddly bits and, you know, freeing memory and doing all these things. As a software developer, you know, you do that once or twice, you kind of get it. Now, as a software developer, if I have something that can do that for me, I want to think about bigger picture. I want to think about architecture. How does this thing integrate with something else that I want to work on? Those are the types of problems that I want to get to. And these things freed us up to do that. So it was really a benefit to the people who could embrace that change, see the power, and then move to the next level. So here we are, 2020s, AI. Obviously, as I've already seen, you're embracing this. This is not a surprise. There wouldn't be any pushback coming here tonight. But there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of fear. You know, we've already seen some effects in the industry. People are getting laid off. We're having to make justifications for headcount so that, You know, if it is something that truly a human can do, we can hire, but if it's something AI can do, we might not be able to get that opening. So it is a concern. But what I want to, show you and talk to you about is, as you start learning these tools, and here's just some of the examples that, we have as GitHub that we have in our Copilot tool, code suggestions, agent mode, and our most recent announcement a couple weeks ago at Microsoft Build was a fully asynchronous coding agent that can kind of just take tasks and do them for you in the background. But, what I want to sort of promote to you is the idea that these things are doing that grunt work again. Think of that, from my time, it was the thing that was, managing memory, so I didn't have to do it anymore. That's really where I see this, helping you, is taking all of that grunt work, that low-level work off of your plate so you can think about that higher order problem that you might want to solve. Eventually, it can probably do some of that higher order stuff, but you'll then advance beyond it. So I want to encourage you to be thinking about these things as tools that you are going to use. You're going to need certain tasks to. You're still going to need, as we've already seen with your presentations, and I'm sure the rest of them tonight, you still need that spark. You still need that architectural high level. How does this fit with everything else? That's what the human brain can do. These things are great for generating code, generating documentation, you know that, but they're not going to replace that spark, I don't think, at least not in our lifetime. I hope. We shall see in the next generation, and whoever's going to present on that next generation may have a different story, but then we'll figure out how to adjust that too. But I really want to stress that these things are great. They're great tools. They're not replacements. We still need that human element. They're going to accelerate. They're going to help us go forward. And I think all of you here tonight are going to be the ones that are going to drive it. I can't wait to see what happens over the next 5, 10, 20 years. I'm sure you're all going to make huge impact with these tools. And I just want to encourage you to be open to that. And thank you very much. I appreciate your attention.
Thank you so much, Greg. All right, so at this point, we're gonna take a 20-minute break for food. So I think we'll be setting up food outside, a couple minutes to get it out there, and then we can kind of shuffle out there and we can come back inside to eat. Yeah, yes.
I think I'm unmuted. You can hear me still? Yeah. Okay. We'll do 20 minutes. I think I might turn on some music for the audience, and then I'll hop on here and do the chats. Thank you. We'll start our presentation. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Has anyone seen Angela? Can everyone look under your seats? Is anyone seeing a microphone? It's like anything? I don't know.
Oh, you need this microphone? Wow. Welcome. I'm glad you guys had a good break. So, can I get a show of hands in the room of how many people have lost an item and never got it back? Yep, I felt that. So, we're here to solve your problem. Introducing Pinpoint. Pinpoint is a platform that brings UC students together, connecting you with your lost treasures. What is the problem? The problem is that UC Davis's current lost and found system is not very efficient and is very disorganized. We found that about 78% of students on campus don't even know about the lost and found system. We're here to help. Our solution, we created a streamlined lost and found system to help UC Davis students reconnect with their lost items. And let's get into how it works.
So just to briefly move into how
our system works. If you've lost something, submit a report. If you found something, you create a listing. Both reports and listings follow the same seamless process of 3 easy steps. For step 1, you enter in the date and location of approximately when you lost the item. For step 2, users can add tags on identifying characteristics about their item, helping us match lost items to found items. For step 3, if the user has additional info or images that they can include, we have a space for them here, something specific to UC Davis. Lots of students will like to leave lost items at the MU front desk, front desk. So we have a space for them to enter that in here.
Finally, moving on to our dashboard. This is where users can view these items. And our checkback here actually allows users to easily check for updates by using a specialized matching algorithm so that you don't have to check on the app repeatedly, because who does automation? If you would like to search for your items instead, Pinpoint offers that feature as well. You can search by keyword and by categories or location, and this will help simplify the process even more. At the end of the day, people want to do the right thing. By incorporating our secure CAS login and it's easier, safer, more reliable for users to return items and find their lost item. If you lost it, we'll find it. Thank you from our team, and I hope that you try out our product. And thank you to Codelab for offering this opportunity.
Great, thank you so much, Pinpoint. Can I get another round of applause? While no one is listening to us right now, and everyone's having their own side conversations, I just want to ask, can you help me with interview prep?
I'm so sorry. I'm kind of booked this next week, but I've been hearing a super helpful tool, Valer. Valer? Oh, I think the French can tell you.
Hi everyone, we are Team Belair. To start off, can I please get a show of hands how many people have had to prepare for an interview before? Yay, okay. As current in I think all understand that preparing for an interview and being able to practice all the necessary is definitely daunting and a bit stressful process.
Introducing Volair, an AI-powered interview platform created by college students for college students. With our product, the main goal is to provide real-time feedback for our users.
Some key features that we wanted to highlight with our platform includes personalized tips. This means after each interview that the user gives, they're able to get real feedback on ways that they can improve their skills for the next interviews that they want to practice with. They're also able to visualize their analytics or interactive dashboard. This analytics can show their trends on what they work on, how they can improve what characteristics they're talking about, and future things that we're interested in. We also incorporated conversational AI. This means with our tool Navi, you can get real-time feedback on questions that are asked and practice your answers at the same time as well.
Yeah. So Valer mainly focuses on behavioral interviews, but is also capable of asking technical questions based on the user's job description and resume. Now we can show that in action in a demo. Users are able to create an account and then go through an onboarding process, which will ask them a series of questions that will help personalize their content. They can start an interview by inputting their job description, job title, and company name, and also any challenges they'd like to work on. Users can then start the interview with the AI agent and receive real-time receptive feedback.
Hi there, I'm Navi. Today we're running a technical mock interview for a software engineer role. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Navi, sorry, but I gotta end the call now.
Okay, I understand. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Have a great day.
As you can see, customized AI tips are then displayed on the session history page, and also the entire conversation transcript. Dashboard, we also show the basic tips along with the metrics that we generated, which we then later graph, so the user can see their progress. And lastly, thank you to Codelab and to our team for working hard on this.
All right, thank you, Team Valera. I just know that that tool is going to help so many people on campus.
It really is. All right.
Yeah. And while we have control of these mics, are we ready?
Everyone lean
Smile. 3, 2, 1.
Three, two, one. A big F on here, and then I'll send it over to Snapchat headquarters. I'm trying to get a streak with them, but I'm not really getting attention.
Don't worry about it. Well, our next team dove into a project like no other, participating in Snapchat's AR Lens Challenge. Maybe their lenses will help you get Snap's attention? Oh my God. Take a look.
Hi everyone, I'm Quinn and welcome you today with the Snap team. This is Janine and Rafa. And over the past weeks, our teams, in collaboration with Snap, we explored augmented reality and how it can deepen our experience in the creation of lenses using Lens Studio. And as part of the Snap challenge, we participated. And so Snap challenges some ambitious goal with the animal kingdom theme. We need to design an immersive, technically robust, and thematically rich lens, while also keeping them intuitive and fun to share for all global audience. And so, why does this matter and why animals? So animals are universal. They are adorable and lovable because more than 70% of Gen Z own a pet, and over 1.3 million pet-related contents are shared every day. In business perspective, for Snap, this is not just content, but also an opportunity for them to expand their audience, whether by spreading animal awareness or turning animals into target audience themselves. And as a result, this would increase the growing AR technology that they develop and also validate their AR technology with the lens creation.
All right, now to lens goals. From there to cover this broad topic and include a big AR experience, we created 4 interactive animal lens to achieve these goals. And now is a great time to pull up this. So, what is your zodiac? So, for what is your zodiac? We want to connect Snapchatters and animals. Definitely animals, and to because animals are usually connected with like narratives and also like tell stories about these animals, and also like meanings for these animals, or to connect with your zodiac. For our next lens, we understand that not everyone can go to the zoo. So how about we bring our wonder and excitement about animals to our everyday life? So this Snap lens, the Uncovered Animal Magazine, aims to do that through a graphic experience that spotlights our everyday animals.
Yeah, so inspired by this year's Met Gala theme, we actually made the lens Pet Gala, and it's a lens where you can, kind of dress up your cat to be like a celebrity. Those who have to change outfits, accessories, and backgrounds, and leveraging object detection and cat segmentation or pet segmentation in general. You can actually it's very like playful and highly shareable, and gives users the tools to host like their own editorial style kind of fashion show for their pet right from home. And this one right here is for the gamers. So Cat Pop is a World Trap AR mini game where players feed fish to a cat while dodging the raccoons. So with random spawning, tap detection, and scoring, this lens showcases AR can move beyond filters and it's a fully interactive gaming experience. Lastly, I'd like to give a huge shout out to our team for all of their incredible work, from our dedicated project manager Quinn to our very talented designers and hardworking developers, as well as our Snap client Lindsay for all of her help and the valuable feedback we got from the Snap AR team. Thank you. And also a huge thanks to all of you for being here, and we hope you explore the animal kingdom for yourselves through these lenses.
All right, last time we gave Snap lenses. You can check them out on your Medium articles. All right, we're going to be heading over to another. We're so honored to have Heather Meeker here, co-founder of Chinstrap Inc. Chinstrap is a free resource center on commercial open source software aimed towards supporting people and organizations who are moving into the startup ecosystem. The community provides content, workshops, and webinars, and more on the legal and business intricacies of COSS. Today, Heather will be speaking about the business around open source systems.
A little bit of context first. By the way, these presentations are wonderful. I'm having such fun listening to them. You guys are so impressive. So I'm a lawyer and an investor, and in both respects, I specialize in open source software. So I've done counseling clients and used their business forever. And as an investor, I only invest in commercial open source software development. So what I'm here to talk to you about tonight is I just want to get one concept across. So people ask me all the time, how is it possible to make money with open source software? You're giving it away, it's for free, how can you make money? Well, this is what I want to explain to you. This is one concept. I want you to keep this in your mind because I want many of you to think in the future about starting businesses around open source software. For me personally, I think that commercial open source software or COS is the business model of the future. I really believe in it from an economic point of view, also from a societal point of view. Okay, so take a look at this car. Now, suppose you wanted a car, and the car costs, let's say, $30,000. And someone came to you and I said, I've got a great deal for you. I'm going to give you this car for nothing. But the catch is not a sum. Okay. So the question is, would you even take this car for free? And I think for most of us, the answer to that is no, I'm not going to even take this for free. I'd really actually rather pay $30,000 to get a fully assembled car. Because if I took this car, even if I had the skill to put it together, and believe me, I would have some parts left over. I probably couldn't find anyone to fix it if it broke. It might not be street legal, and I'm going to have all sorts of problems that probably couldn't be selling. So the car that is not assembled is not useful to me at all, but it's free, right? Okay, so this is how commercial open source software works. Open source software is source code for software, and it's free. But the thing is, there's a huge difference between source code and something you actually use. Whether that means that somebody took the software and created a service out of it, or they took it and embedded it in a device, or they're just providing the quality control necessary to make sure that the software can be used properly. Because at the end of the day, when people buy software for organizations, they pay somebody to give them access to software, doing that in order to solve problems. They don't want the source code. They just want something that will do what they want software to do. And that difference, the difference in value between that thing on the slide and the fully assembled car, that is what you're selling with commercial open source software. And if you look around, you'll see that this is actually becoming a huge sector. And we just had a speaker from GitHub, a business built around open source software. You can add all sorts of bells and whistles to open source software and actually have extremely vibrant businesses. If you look at this as a sector, it's now many, many billions of dollars sector. And that's why I'm investing in that area, and that's what I would like to encourage you to think about. It seems like a lot of people here are very interested in open source software, so I want to encourage you to combine that with your dreams of success and prosperity and understand that there is a path from A to B. So before I leave you, I just want to mention that we have Chenstrap community. If you're interested in finding out more about how commercial open source software works, we've got a website, we've got all sorts of information, news stories. We are putting together a really cool database about the commercial open source sector. And we also have an AI chatbot. This little penguin, we call him Cosmo, right? And there's an Ask Cosmo feature, which is actually trained on a lot of stuff that I've written. This is my most recent book, From Project to Profit, which is about creating businesses around open source software. So this is all free, no charge. We do this as a community service. And I encourage you to go there, join our community. We have a Discord, join the Discord if you're into that. And we hope to see you all as part of this community in the future. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Heather. We've got one more keynote speaker tonight.
Hello. Can I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah. So I'll give her just 1 second. We have Catherine Druckman, who will be joining us in just a moment. She's actually based in Houston, and so she will be is joining us virtually today. And she is an open source evangelist over at Intel. Super cool. And outside of work, Catherine co-hosts and produces the Reality 2.0 podcast, covering topics related to Linux and open source, as well as digital privacy, security, and other current issues in the digital world. Today, she'll be discussing the role of open platforms empowering innovation in the AI space. Ready? All right, the floor is yours. Give us just 1 moment. We're setting up your face on the screen.
No.
You look great. All you.
Is my audio on now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I have to say, Heather Meeker is a really tough act to follow with the open source icon. As an open source evangelist myself, I think that's really exciting to get to follow her and slightly intimidating. The second, thank you so much for having me. Even if virtually, I wish I could be there in person because these presentations have been just really incredibly impressive. So, but yeah, I'm Catherine Druckman. I'm an open source evangelist at Intel. That means a lot of different things depending on the day. In the open source community, I am also chair of the ML working group at LF AI and Data. I'm the OPEA Security Working Group lead, and I'm co-chair of developer relations at the Open Source Security Foundation. And feel free to reach out, by the way, if you'd like to get involved in any of those. But now I would like to walk you through some challenges in developing AI applications that are changing the world, as we can see the event tonight, and share an open source project that I'm involved in that lightens that lift a bit for engineers. So innovation in the field of AI is moving rapidly. Everyone from large enterprises to small startups and individuals, including developers, are incredibly excited to jump in and reach the emerging potential of generative AI for productivity, integrate into new and existing applications. With so much excitement and innovation comes a few challenges in your own. I'm going to go over a few of the problems that arise from this rapid innovation in pioneering technology. But first, again, I am an open source person. Remaining open is a choice, and by committing to fostering and contributing to in these open ecosystems, open organizations, and open source software, this is how we achieve our goals of avoiding vendor lock-in, of supporting and fostering an environment that is set up for innovation, protecting our data, benefiting from the wisdom of others, and the support of the community. And maybe best of all, potentially future-proofing our applications, protecting their ability to be agile in their development and swap out what's not working if we keep it open. And we maintain our freedom to pick and choose what components we want and what we don't, any model, any data store, any framework. And this is how we make AI captures what we want to do them. Now, so going back to the challenges, when we're focused on rapid innovation, especially in pioneering fields, we're mainly focused on goal, minimum viable product, getting some functionality out the door. What is sometimes lost in that is the foresight to apply the principles that lead to interoperability and flexibility. And in emerging fields where best practices have not yet been established, but lack of standardization slows down development. AI development really is like the Wild West. Everybody's inventing. So what we'd like to see in the open source community, what we'd like to see is adoption of community established to speed up everyone's development workflow. So this is the open source way. We come together to establish the best way and the leader control way. But in the last, things are moving rapidly, right? In 2017, deep learning models were the leaders who published Homer architecture. We quickly realized how powerful it was going to be. Explore the models, the frameworks, ecosystems that having solutions to support the usage of generative AI. But Meta's doing their thing, Google's doing their thing, NVIDIA's doing their thing. The cost of this, there's a lot of work happening in different places and companies. Again, what we'd like to see is the ecosystem come together to work on solutions that lead to interoperability. The things are moving fast, and we're all very excited about what we're creating, right? We made up a goal, getting there by any means necessary. There are options to reach the same. And again, when we're pioneers, we often have that luxury of referencing the best practices. And with so many options, we may end up like this disorganized pile of Legos. But I think we can do better and benefit from what each other is doing together. But again, without the, we don't yet have that practices, this is what we might end up with. It works even well, but it might be tough to plan, it might be tough to maintain. You might want to start with something a little bit solid so we don't end up with some loop. By the way, this is what's they are no one. So the solution is a project working toward an interoperable gender neutral platform that helps us tame a little bit of that chaos. Mission an open platform of open and composable gender to harness that best innovation from across the field. Introducing open platform for enterprise AI under the umbrella AI and data umbrella, and as I mentioned, focuses on started retrieval standardizing modules, heterogeneous RAG pipelines for enterprise use. Imagine it's also container friendly. Imagine Kubernetes style standard, but in the enterprise AI space. Quickly, for anybody who doesn't know what RAG is, I'll really quickly blow through this, but if you ask an LLM about your model about famous, it's probably not going to know. Why is that? The model only has general knowledge. The model doesn't have the information that I need, so I have to augment the prompt. Information, how do we do that, right? This time I will provide some contextual information, and then I'll ask again. This time it is able to answer, and that's RAG. Augmented information. So we extract the relevant information, we get from a knowledge base, we get the prompt to a retrieve context to provide more accurate and relevant answer, and then generate the answer based on again, think of that as a two-step process. First, you process and store your knowledge in the knowledge base. Now, to do that, what are right? Maybe we're using Redis and we want to change the way of using Mildis. How difficult is this going to be, right? If we haven't built our application using using an interoperable platform. There are so many LLMs. How do you choose frameworks you use? Then you need to deploy your application. You want to consider things like hardware efficiency, guardrails, or either how do the accuracy of the results? How does all this work together, right? But if we start again with a stable platform, we can have this new beautiful solid building, and that is the aim of the project I'm talking about. All of the mentioned before are microservices that can easily be plugged in. Maybe a strong word, but any project simple demo application for you to play with. provide you with a start. Your example here that represents the chat Q&A example. But there are lots of others. There are others for code generation, translation. Here we see each separate microservice is designed to work together to solve the application. This slide gives us a larger picture of how the microservices interact and how they can communicate with each other and provide context for the questions that are input. In this case, also we have a user interface. Define it and microservices. And to do this, an embedded model converts the text into question, vectors or text, and then it's grabbed from there. And then there we go, animation. Just try things a bit more. The microservices are grouped into different chatbot and user interface. The benefit of grouping microservices this way provides a communication gateway that makes the front end UI, which gives you a humans can actually use. But I will not dwell on that too much. But the basic starting point, again, there is an interface, but you can add additional context to the document upload or providing a URL. This is a basic starting point for anybody to innovate. Maybe you need a customer service chatbot. That's building your path forward. So there it is. That's the project. I would love for all of you to check it out. There are so many ways to participate. Go to Codelab, you get everywhere else from there. Any of the 22 demo applications join the working group. You can come hang out with me. Run into any trouble. I'll leave that for a minute. And then the next slide, my next. And here's how to find me. Please reach out if you want to chat about any of the stuff that I've talked about or anything else at all. This is the podcast I'm actually currently involved in. But yeah, let's talk about open source. Give me feedback, chat me up on the internet, do all of those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And let's give her another round of applause. It's about 10:15 in Tuesday. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. So we're coming to near the end of our. We're going to have the last 4 teams come up here in just a moment.
Now, Sanjana and I have been writing our script for a little while now, and one night we got like this long paragraph from our next team actually, and they provided so much technical knowledge. It's one Slack message, just piles and piles of technical knowledge just to help us write our intro. It's crazy. It went right over my head.
Well, it's a good thing that this next team spent the whole quarter putting together a tool to pull insights and key information from documents. Let's give it up for Solidigm AI.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for that introduction. Let's get into our presentation. First off, I want to introduce the team without whom this would have not been possible. I'm Varun, that's Johnson, and that's Simon, and we had Aiden, Borna, Ashant, Rohan, and Jolina with us. Now, what is Solidigm? Solidigm, formed from Intel's SSD business, is a global leader in flash storage. They power everything from massive data centers and AI-driven enterprises. Their products support some of the most data-intensive applications on this planet, which means that their service tickets, product logs, and technical documents are highly valuable. However, in the raw form, they're unstructured, they're inconsistent, and they're time-consuming to navigate. Engineers could spend hours digging through them just to find patterns and prior solutions for previous tickets. So we built a solution, a fully automated, highly accurate data extraction pipeline designed to turn decades of engineering data more accessible, more searchable, and more actionable. The system we built takes in both CSV files and complex PDFs, which mimic the ones used in Solidigm's real-life workflows. It extracts important metadata, which is then cleaned and organized in a consistent format, ready to be searched, analyzed, or used for RAG models.
Yeah, so at the heart of this solution are 2 key screens or features. First, introducing the admin dashboard, where engineers can quickly organize and structure complex data sets. As you can see here, each widget represents a different metadata category. And within that, you can easily add, remove, or update keywords at any time. And introducing the extraction refiner. So this interface really makes oversight effortless. On the left here, you can see that engineers can quickly look at, search through and filter extractions. In the center, you have the raw metadata, basically the original document displayed, and also showing points of where the extraction is being taken from. And on the right side, basically the extracted data, and just having the engineers being able to modify it easily is something that we really needed.
Perfect. All right. Let's go into our impact. Overall, our project and our solution lived on Solidigm's local ecosystem, Data Haiku. By doing this, we were able to not disrupt any prior workflows they had and also integrate into their AI architecture. Our project was able to achieve a 97% accuracy for extraction, as well as be able to parse 10,000 plus documents. Overall, we collected 40 plus metrics across all the different types of upload formats. And lastly, we were able to reduce the average lookup time on a file by roughly 10 minutes, which adds up a lot over time. Overall, we're really passionate and excited about what we did with this team, and we're really excited to see where this will go next. We want to take a second to thank our clients, Ali, Jasmine, and Charles, for all their continued help and support across this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have heard and seen a lot about AI tonight, but what's going to happen to our traditions? Can you believe they don't even teach handwriting at elementary schools anymore?
Oh, okay. We're not going to think about that. We're not going to crash out because this next client is teaching us that handwriting is not dead. It just had a UX upgrade. Okay.
Let's hear it for our spring quarter Good Notes team.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So our product is GoodNotes Draw. Just a quick disclaimer, this is not an official product of GoodNotes. So I know we answered this earlier, but who is GoodNotes? Well, GoodNotes is the leading AI note-taking app loved by millions. And right now we're going to show how our product is for.
So most of us are college students here. We're going to class, we're taking notes, and we're probably making diagrams. And right now, making diagrams is kind of slow and clunky. You're stuck writing boxes for sketching from scratch for the most simple idea. From our research, one of the most consistent themes that came up was the importance of non-intrusive AI. So our survey with 40 responses highlighted that it was critical that AI doesn't interrupt or take over the work. And this insight directly affected a lot of our design decisions. We focus on giving the users full control and keeping the AI system supportive while also being
Introducing GoodNotes Draw. We have 3 key features here. First, you can go ahead and chat with the AI and let them know what you'd like to see on the canvas. Second, once the AI has decided how it's going to draw that out, you can either accept or reject that, or you can go ahead and add updates or edits. Going off of that, this will all be consolidated into your canvas. You'll be able to track the plot and provide updates all in one place. With that being said, once you ask the AI to create that, you can also have suggestions from the AI, depending on what you would like to add and not add based on that. And then additionally, if you need to make a quick edit right on the canvas, you can ask the AI to make that edit, and then you can accept or reject that edit, or continue to ask for new diagrams, new edits to be made. Here we're showing a little bit of a demo video. We have the chat right there. The AI is able to make images, tables, quizzes, also able to make mind maps and flow diagrams, as well as simple graphs and different types of drawings. Additionally, if the AI is able to take a screenshot of the page to understand what is on there, and it's also able to realize what elements are where, so it can render things not on top of each other as well. We'd like to say thank you to our whole team, especially our project managers, developers, and designers for making this possible. We would also like to say thank you to our client, Ethan. He was in London
You always make time to get on call with us as well. Thank you, everyone.
All right, now time for our final team to hit it out of the park. And after their visit to Oracle Park to watch the Giants, they have done just
Go Dodgers, by the way. But now get ready to upvote this presentation as we head over to the r/baseball subreddit.
Hey, hello everyone, we are the Reddit team, the last team of the night. My name is Jess, this is Sam, and we have Brittany. Yeah, if you're a baseball fan, we hope you like our product. So Reddit is a big product. They have over 100,000 active communities and over 22 billion posts and comments. It's a platform that lets users share content and engage in discussions across various communities under what's called subreddits. So Reddit's main goals for the platform are to connect fan bases and build community, share and distribute content, also drive innovation under their subreddits. And speaking of subreddits, sports are one of Reddit's most popular and fastest growing interest groups, which was a key driving component to our project.
And one of the ways that Reddit is engaging with sports fans is through live scoreboards. So currently in market, there are existing scoreboards for soccer, basketball, and cricket. But we noticed that there was a gap and there was no existing scoreboard for baseball now. So we designed and developed a live scoreboard with 3 different states. So there's pre-game, live game, and post-game scoreboards, and with all of these users have access to stats, including play-by-play, box scores, and play.
And then to give users real-time updates and live statistics for our scoreboard, we use our API. For that, we interface features for live game, along with live score caching and Reddit fetching guys. And additionally, we ran into Devin's limited client-side interactions. We had to deal with work around with our end. As for the sports radar API, this powered the real-time, the retrieval of the real-time statistics with its consistent structure, and it allowed us to use these APIs for the game. And the following is a demo video of our product. And then check it out.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going.
Okay, and we just wanted to say a thank you to our wonderful clients, so Mindy and Max, whom we collaborated with over these past few weeks, as well as the rest of the with RPN, Jess, myself, and Heidi, who were the designers, and then Shaker, Divya, Ethan, and Kaushal, who were the developers. Thank you, everyone.
All right, that was a home run. Thank you so much for our Reddit team.
All right, let's give one more hand for the Reddit team. And let's give a big hand for our speakers, Catherine, Jennifer, Anna. And a round of applause for our panelists as well.
And finally, a big round of applause for all of our winter and spring quarter team.
Every team has worked so hard over the last quarter, all the way to the whole school year to build out these amazing products. And I speak on behalf of the entire Codelab leadership team that we are so, so proud of what you all have accomplished.
As we close out the evening, we want to point out that kind of what we're going to do for the rest of the night. So we'll open it up for networking, mingling, getting to know everyone. And then thank you again so much for coming. We hope you all had a wonderful time. I know we had a wonderful time. The board also had a really good time putting this event together. Hopefully we'll see it next year. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.